I'm taking me off and boom. All right. We are live. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daniel Tim, and I will be your host today. Today is the DII Saturday Handpan class with none other than the great David Berry. But before that, do we have any news, actually? Handpans, for handpans out there, I know there's some people on. There's one person on, actually. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say hi. It's a beautiful Saturday, and there goes my kitten in the background. But I'm just excited to be here.
Kitten.
I love our Saturday classes with Handpan with Dave because, you know, even though I'm here in the background, I learned so much from this gentleman. As far as handpan news for DII, we are still open and we are really busy. There's a lot of people out there that have been getting the news that we have good handpans and they're coming to check it out. And also we have some awesome stuff coming up. So stay tuned on our events page. If you are not on our email list, please subscribe to our email list. Also, if you're on YouTube right now and you have not subscribed, please subscribe, like, comment, so you can get all the information that's happening at DII. But without further ado, I just want to bring on our good friend, Mr. David Berry. Let's see, boom. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Greetings. I'm good. How are you?
Good. For those of you, if you have been here for the first time, Dan and I usually host this event, and we are, staying socially distant and safe. So I'm here in Long Beach, and Dave is at the shop right now in Lakewood. So, hey, Dave, how's it going over there?
Very nice. It's a good day today here in Southern California.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know you've been really busy in the shop lately. How's that been?
Taxing. It's been a lot of work.
Yeah.
Every day, work.
Yeah.
And with the COVID-19 craziness going on, it's really funny because 5 o'clock comes around and there's nothing that prevents me from continuing to work. So I just keep working.
You just keep working. I know how that is. Actually, I've been feeling really tired, and I've been talking to a lot of my friends that, that's happening to them too, because we feel like we're just totally working, the ones that are working, And
yeah,
I think we're blessed.
Work.
I think we're blessed that we're busy. Thank you to all our clients and customers out there, definitely. So, cool.
Indeed.
All right. Well, for all of you out there, here is David Berry, and I'm going to give him the screen, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, Dave. Have a good one.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yep. Boom. Oops. It didn't switch. Hold on. There we go. 3 and 4. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the DII live show here, live broadcast. We do this every 2 weeks. We talk about handpans and getting people started with handpans. If you haven't been here watching before, my name is David Berry. I've been making handpans and steel drums. I first started with steel drums back in the early 1990s, and now I'm making handpans. I've been making handpans for about 10 years, since around 2010 is when I started. We've got the store here called Dave's Island Instruments, DII. So welcome, and that's just a short history of what I've been doing over the past 20 years or so. I'm really happy to be making the handpans these days. They're a very unique product and instrument that people really love, and I love it and continue to love it, even though I make them and work on them every day. Let's get some little the basics out of the way. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel over here somewhere. There's like a little red subscribe word or subscribe button, so feel free to subscribe, and that'll be awesome. If you also want to make any comments, or if you have any questions while we're live today, we do have people monitoring the comments section while I'm doing the live class. So feel free to early on ask some questions. So as I move through the class, hopefully I can answer some of those questions. I know that Beth was watching today, and I believe Lisa is watching in Spain, I believe.
Laurel is also
this will
on.
Be really fun.
Laurel, a new customer with the new handpan.
Okay, Laurel's on. Okay,
yes.
Great, awesome. So we've got some really wonderful customers watching today, and hopefully this will be beneficial for you. All right, so we're just going to go over some of the very pure basics for the very much beginners. Then I move on to getting to some lessons and that sort of thing, and some talking about how to play little patterns and some stuff to get you started later on. But right from the top, I just want to talk about the handpan, how it's made, what the different parts are called, that sort of thing. So you can see on screen, it's made out of two pieces of metal. There's the top shell and the bottom shell. The top shell has typically more of the handpan notes on it. The bottom shell sometimes will have no notes, just a big hole in the center. The hole is called the goo hole. Recently, we have been adding some notes to the bottom, and those are just called handpan notes also, or sometimes you just call them bottom notes. The big note in the center on the top is called the ding, D-I-N-G, ding note. Like I mentioned earlier, the notes around the perimeter are just called tone field notes. Some people call them tone fields. Others just call them notes. So we call them tone field notes. We can count them and distinguish them in various ways. One way for non-musicians is just to simply count them. So when I count them, I start from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So on this instrument, there are 8 notes on the top shell here. Learning how to orient your handpan to make sure that it's played in a way that sounds good like that. We can talk about that in just a minute. Let's see. Another way to distinguish the notes is to label them with musical letter names. So, for instance, the ding note on this one is D, and it's a D minor instrument. This is called the sunset scale. Some handpan people call it Celtic minor, excuse me. So you can also call this the D ding, A, C, D, E, F, G, and A. And then you see these little divots in the middle, these little indentations. Those are called dimples. And the dimples help to control the sound to give the sound of the note a little bit warmer sound. A steel drum is made in a very similar way to a handpan, as a pan, but there are no dimples on a steel drum, and so it has a very bright sound. So one of the things that makes the handpan very warm is those dimples control the sound. Each note is tuned with different harmonics. So, for instance, on the ding note, you can kind of see that it's in a little bit of an oval shape. The other notes around the edge are also oval shapes. So within that oval shape, there are 3 basic harmonics that you can listen to and explore. So the first one is the main sound that you're hearing. Like when I call this a D ding, the D note is the fundamental pitch. So D is a fundamental pitch. The second harmonic is called the octave, and the octave runs through the length of the note. So however that note is oriented, if it's an oval, the length of that oval, there will be an octave tuned through the length. Through the width of that oval, there is a fifth that's tuned to the note. So when you play the note, you're actually hearing 3 pitches being sounding at the same time. So on this note, you're hearing the D fundamental, the D octave, and the fifth. So you can kind of identify those by playing the edge of the note or the width of the note. You can hear that higher frequency coming out there. You can also play the octaves on the edges of the notes here. It kind of gives a whispery sound to the instrument. The fifths, they're extra high up there. And that all of those can take a little while to learn how to activate them and play them effectively. But I'm just giving you a little heads up right now. Your handpan, it may have 8 notes on top, but actually it's 8 times 3, 8, 16, 24 different pitches that you can play around with and enjoy and really explore to make really cool music. Okay, so those are the basics of the handpan. If anybody has any more questions about that, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we're going to move on to how to strike the note. So striking the note is one of the frequent problems that people have. And so I'm just going to breeze over this quickly so that we can get beyond it, because I pretty much talk about this every class. You can review other videos. But in essence, what you're trying to do is strike the note and then come off of it immediately so that you're not touching the note. If you touch the note, then it doesn't make a sound. So when I say touch, I'm talking about just barely holding onto the note or dragging my finger across it. So if I kind of drag my finger even a little bit, it mutes the note. So what you want to do is strike and come off of that note immediately. So my arm, typically when I play, the wrist and the arm are somewhat straight like this. You can see over here I'm playing that D, and it's fairly straight. When I move over here, it's still fairly straight. The only time I start to bend my wrist a little bit is back here by my tummy. These lower notes in the back, I do have to angle my hands a little bit. But you can also move the handpan forward like this to allow your arm to be more straight. And it might be a little bit more comfortable to play like that. Okay, you can also use pretty much any finger on your hand to play the instrument. You can use your little finger, your ring finger, your middle finger, index finger, thumb. So the thumb sounds like that. It has a little bit more of a percussive sound. So some people really enjoy using their thumbs, and sometimes it's just more comfortable for certain people to use their thumbs versus fingers. I tend to use my index finger. Like that. My middle finger also works fine. My ring finger tends to start feeling a little bit weak, so I don't use it that frequently. However, when I play two notes at the same time, I predominantly use my ring finger for the second finger on my hand. So in this instance, I'm playing the A with my index finger and the F with my ring finger, and playing those together. So you can see how that works. Same thing over here. I've got a ring on this hand. Be careful of your rings, because sometimes you can smack the drum and make that metallic sound that you just heard. You can also use your thumb and your finger to strike two notes at the same time. So it's a good it's a good practice for you to practice with your thumb and your fingers, so that you can use both of those independently or together to make harmonies. You'll notice I'm using my thumb and finger on the back because it's very comfortable to play it like that. When I reach over to the front, sometimes I'll spread my fingers out like that because it's more comfortable. It's almost impossible to use my thumb and finger in that position, right? So comfort is big. It's going to help to make you play more effectively and quote unquote faster if you wanted to play faster. Otherwise, you're going to be moving your body all around, and it's going to be slowing you down if you try to get these weird, uncomfortable positions. Let's see. I know some of you out there have purchased our Luna Clarity 11 handpans with notes on the bottom, and we are now also coming out with our RS 12, which will have 12 notes on it. And I just want to discuss that real quick. So this one does have the notes on the bottom. And the notes on the bottom are the F, the G, and the B flat. Okay, so I want to show you briefly. Well, let me back up. Let me show you the top shell scale first, and then we'll discuss how to play some of those bottom notes and incorporate those into the scales that you're playing. Okay, So on the top, you want to start with your left hand if you're going to play the scale straight up and down. The smallest note, if you have a Luna Clarity or a Luna Satin, the smallest note is an A, and it's going to be at the 12 o'clock position. You're going to find that there's two notes on the bottom that are about, or on the back, that are about the same size as your palm or your hand, actually your hand. And those are going to be at the 5:30 and 6:30 positions near your belly. There's a, oh yeah, I forgot to mention earlier, the metal between the notes is called the interstitial metal. So you'll see that there's some interstitial metal that's going right towards the center of your body there. If you have a 9-note handpan, like our Aris, that one has 9 notes on the top. So the same two bigger notes will be splitting the back side of the handpan. But then on the top, rather than having one note at the 12 o'clock position, those notes are actually going to be splitting at 11:30 and 12:30. And on the Aris, you'll have the logo right at the 12 o'clock position. So there are a few little changes there. So with the scale for the sunset scale, this is a D minor scale, I like to start with the left hand and then alternate hands, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, that sort of thing, all the way up the scale. So some people find it comfortable when they're beginning to strike 2 notes with one hand, like left, left, or left, right, right. In this case, we're not going to be striking anything with the same hand twice. Okay, so make sure that you're always alternating hands when you do this exercise. So this is just a simple scale exercise, starting with left on the D. Right is number 2. Left is number 3. Right number 4. Left number 5. Right number 6. Left number 7. And right number 8. If you have an Aris, you can have one more note on top, and that would be number 9 with your left hand. So once again, starting from the ding note, going straight up from the bottom to the top, from low to high, left on the D, right on the A, left on the C, right on the D, left on the E, right on the F, left on the G, and right on the A, and if you have an Aris, so left on the C. So you can speed that up, like that. So after you get proficient with that, you can move along effortlessly and play that scale. So another thing you want to learn too is starting from the top and going back down. So in this instance, you're going to start with your right hand. If you're an Aris player with 9 notes on top, you're going to start with your left because that high note is the C. Okay, so right now I'm showing you I'm starting with my right on the A, and I'm going to descend the scale, go down from high to low. In this case, it's going to go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and then it ends on the left. Okay, so the good thing about this is when you went up, it started on the left. When you came back down, it ends on the left. Okay, so you're starting and finishing on the left hand. So one more time from the top, going back down, starting on the right hand. Okay, you'll notice I'm lifting my hands quite a bit. That's really just for you to show you visually on screen what it sounds and looks like. But if I was to play this just casually, it would look more like this. I just glide over the surface of the instrument. Okay, so once again, if you're going up the scale, you can come back down in the same position that you ended in. You just start over again and go back down. Okay, one more time. And then start again. All right. Okay, so that's just a very basic scale on the top shell. Now, like I said, I've got some notes on the bottom now. In this case, when you have the notes on the bottom, at DII, we're making all of the bottom notes a similar way to where if you have an Aris or a Sunset Clarity or even a Satin in the future, if we have bottom notes on Satins, the way you play them should always be the same, as long as we're continuing to make them the way we are right now. Okay, so we've got a left on the bottom side of the instrument. We've got a G on the bottom right. And over here, we've got a B flat. So I place that B flat directly underneath the F. So you can always kind of imagine in your brain, if you strike that area, even though you can't see it, the B flat is right below the F. I kind of noticed that my hand, I tend to reach under like this rather than over. You can reach over, but I tend to reach under as much as I can. Again, it all depends on where you're at playing your scales. So you can play all of these notes in sequence, alternating hands, just like we did on the top shell. So, but in this case, you're going to start with your right hand rather than your left hand. So when you're on the top shell, you start with your left hand. Starts and stops on your left hand. When you're playing all of the notes, top and bottom, you're going to start on your right hand, and I believe you're going to finish on your right hand. So let me just go through this slowly. Might be a little bit confusing because now we've got notes all over the place. Right hand on the D, left hand on the F, G with the right, left goes to A, the right, because remember alternating, goes to the B flat, left goes to C, right goes to D, left goes to E, right goes to F, left goes to G, and right goes to A. So you can see it was alternating the entire way. So let me show that to you one more time. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay? So it sounds like this if I played a little faster. Okay, so that is just like an extended D minor scale. It has, with the exception of the B flat, well, the B flat actually makes it a proper D minor scale. But I was going to say it's almost an extension of the Sunset scale, the Celtic minor scale. But the only one that doesn't fit into that is the B flat. So the B flat is the new note on this instrument that kind of provides some interesting musical ideas that you can explore a little bit more fully. Another scale, so that one is, like I said, just an extended D minor scale.
Dave, can you explain the RS-12? The RS-12?
Okay, yeah, the RS-12, you can play it exactly the same way as I just showed you. So remember, it just has the one extra high C on the top shell. So on an RS, it's going to be the exact same hand motions, alternating back and forth, starting on your right. So the only thing different on the RS is this is no longer a B flat. This is a B natural note here, and then it goes to C. So it sounds slightly different. It's a little bit more mysterious or mystical somehow. I actually really dig the B natural sound. It's a fascinating sound on the instrument. So again, on the RS, if you play right, left, right, left, right on that B or B flat, A, C, D, E, F, G, A. So as far as the hand motions go, it's exactly the same as what I just showed you here, except for on RS, of course, you have the extra high C on the left hand, I believe. The musical difference is that on the Sunset Clarity, it is a B flat, and on the RS, it's a B natural. And then you must be wondering, well, why is that, Dave? Why did you change it? Well, because the size of the instrument depends or has some considerations to make when you're a maker of instruments like myself. There's a certain amount of air that's inside of the instrument, and the air vibrates. And on this instrument, the smaller 20-inch clarity model, it vibrates at a B natural pitch, and so when you tune a B natural on it, it makes it sound bad. Similarly, on the RS, which is slightly larger than the clarity, the B flat sounds bad. So I had to toy around with those two options just a little bit. So on the clarity, the B flat sounds good, so I have a B flat tuned to it. On the RS, the B natural sounds good, so we have a B natural. Either way, the scales work pretty much the same, and you can have just as much fun with them. But there is a slight color difference of what you're going to be hearing when you use those notes. It could be like a major versus a minor sound. So those are some basic options for how to play those bottom notes along with the top. Another thing I like to do with those bottom notes is incorporate them with notes on the top. So for instance, if I'm using my right hand on the G, if I play the left side over here, it all works together in harmony. If I play the left on the F, it works with the right hand side. Right goes with the left. Left works with right. Okay, the B flat, you can explore all sorts of different options. So you can play the B flat with the notes that are close to the B flat. It even works with the notes that are on the opposite side. Okay, so not getting into too many musical variations and options and all sorts of music theory as to why those notes work with each other. I just want to just generally show you that those are some really cool options that you can use with those bottom notes.
All right, Dave. Dave, we have a question. Victor Scarani, I will put this on the screen. He had a question about what's the highest note you ever used while constructing a handpan?
Okay, just a question, just wondering what's the highest note. On a handpan, I think I've only tuned up to an F. I don't think I've ever tuned a G or anything higher than that. I know there's some tuners out there that have been exploring scales and see how high and low they can go. But I think I've only gotten up to F, which I'm totally fine with. I'm actually really entertained with the low and the middle range notes on a handpan because they have a really warm sound. And truthfully, most beginners don't always know what to do with all those really high notes. It's kind of an extra step for them to get to. So a lot of people are beginning handpan players. So I would probably only recommend really extra high notes for people that are experienced or maybe looking for their second handpan that they can add to a basic model handpan that they can get started with. So, but anyway, you know, as far as like on a nerdy level, like I haven't really explored too many high notes on steel drums, which I'd been tuning for 15 years before I even got to steel drums. Maybe 20 years, almost 20 years. Anyway, 15 to 20 years. There are lots of high notes on steel drums. And so I was getting up to little notes that were itty bitty notes that are like a high G or a high F or whatever it was. But those were like twice as high as the note that I just explained to you just then. So it's possible to tune any of those notes, really. You just need to find the right location. But again, it's on a musical level, like how are you going to use those high notes? Sometimes it's nice to have high notes if you have a purpose for them. But if you're trying to meditate or relax to the music you're making, some of those high notes are actually harder to play, and you have to strike them harder and louder in order for them to vibrate. So it's just a different experience. So everyone has their own thing. Some people love the high notes. On my end, I'm just kind of more into the mellowness of the handpan, and I'm not really at this point too excited about extending them much more than what we have. So back. Oh, you're welcome. So I was going to say, if you wanted to use these bottom notes in a fun way, you can play the left hand with the right hand side, and then right with the left. Back and forth. And if you want to go back to your normal D minor. All right, those are some basic things you can do. Another option you could do would be an F major. So this is all F. F, A, C, F, C, A, F, A, C, F, C, A. And then you've got your B flat. Back to your F. And then if you wanted to play your G with your C chord here. All right, so those are some simple ideas, and I know I'm realizing that I'm probably getting beyond some of the beginner techniques here, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a little eye-opener as to what you can do with the instrument and how you can play with those bottom notes. I want to get, let's see, are there any other questions out there, Daniel? Okay, cool. So I'm just going to talk about a couple other ways to use the handpan. We've talked about scales. We've talked about how to strike the note. We haven't really talked about rhythm too much. So a lot of players that play handpan incorporate rhythm, and frequently they use the interstitial metal, the metal between the notes, to get certain kind of percussive sounds. So we call this next thing I'm going to show you is called the Austin Funk, and it's just a simple like a drum beat, but you play it on the handpan. I think Lisa was asking mentioning that she learned how to play the Austin Funk, but then was kind of like, well, what do I do with it from there? So today I'm going to show you how to play it, and then I'm going to show you some options of how to use that Austin Funk and make some more music out of it, rather than just playing that one little pattern over and over again. Okay, so the Austin Funk is basically like a bass drum with the left hand on the ding note, and the snare drum slapping the interstitial metal between the notes right here or to the side here, wherever you get a nice ticky-tacky sound. So when you strike that metal, in this case, instead of striking and coming off of the metal immediately like I was telling you about the handpan notes, in this case, I strike it and actually leave my finger on the metal. It gives a nice slapping sound. So I like that slap sound, so that's how I do it. So you've got your left hand on the bass drum, which is the D, and then the snare drum is your right hand. You're going to go back and forth just like this. So listen up. Okay, so that's the basic part of the rhythm. So left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left. So right at that point, I'm going to throw in a little bit of something else to spice it up a little bit. But it's simple and it's very easy. But it's fun and it makes it a nice repetitive pattern to play. So the part that I'm going to show you next is C and D, which are the 1, 2, 3, and 4 notes, 3 and 4. You're going to play it left, right, left, right. So it's going to sound like this. Just straight through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now you're going to put that in between the part that we played earlier, the rhythm part. 2, 3, stop on 4, rest, and then you add that little extra part. Rest, 3 and 4. rest, and you start over again. So you can see it's very repetitive. So it has the rhythm, and then the little connecting part, da, 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 C, D, C, D, and then it goes back to the top. Okay, so I always explain to people, this is a fun one to play for your friends and family or for your first coffee shop gig that you get, because after you get good at it, you can pretty much talk over it, or you can do poetry or sing. Like right now, I'm playing and I'm talking at the same time. So it's one of those things where you could get good at it, and then when you've got your first coffee shop gig, you can say, hello. You can say, hello, everyone. My name's Dave, and I'm here teaching a class, and I can't wait for you to join me, etc., etc. So put a tip in my tip jar and enjoy the evening. So you can see how that works, right? So you've got your rhythm underlying something that you're doing vocally on top. So that's one thing you can do to explore that and make it more fun. So that's the essential part of the Austin Funk. I want to show you now how you can expand that into something more unique or just something different, but by basically using the exact same essentials of what you just learned. So sometimes as beginners, you can learn something, the teacher will show you something, how to play it, and you'll play it over and over again, but you don't always know how to expand out of that idea. So that's what I want to try to help you to do now. So when you're practicing on your own, you can take a simple idea and expand on it to make it a little bit more interesting, or just, I don't know, just for fun. So here we go with the Austin Funk, and this time, and I'm just making this off the top of my head, by the way. So we've got the left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left. We have the C, D here. If you wanted to add harmonies to it, you could just play the notes next to them, which kind of breaks things up a little bit. So here come the harmonies, right? And then you can go back to your normal pattern. So you can keep it with the regular single note part, and then later on you could add the harmonies. So that's kind of fun. Another thing you could do too is you don't have to remain on the ding note or on the interstitial metal. You can actually change to the different notes on the right hand or the left hand. So for instance, if I'm playing my left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, you can also play these notes over here. So you get the idea. So I just changed, hold on, I've got a little alert message on my phone here. There we go. I think it's telling me that I've got 20% of battery left, so see what happens here. All right, so we've got our rhythm. You can also play other notes. You can either move farther away. You can even play these over here. So you can see, now instead of just playing that one pattern before, as we were doing with the Austin Funk, I created some harmonies that went along with it. So I stayed on the right-hand side of the drum. I was always playing harmonies, two notes at the same time. And then I switched over here to the left side, and then expanded on that left side, and then went back to the right side. So that's one cool thing about this sunset scale, by the way. The right-hand side is D minor. The left-hand side is basically C or A minor. And so if you go back and forth between the right and left, you can make all sorts of music. that's one thing nice to be able to do just with the top shell. You can kind of make some nice melody just going back and forth. Another thing you could do with the Austin Funk to expand on the ideas is you could just simply take it away from the top area and play the notes on the side. So that's our normal pattern. So I just did that. All I did was the exact same rhythm. I just played different notes in different spots on the handpan and explored some different musical ideas. At first I thought to myself, that doesn't quite sound interesting. And then I realized after I finished the pattern, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I did it the second time around. I thought, oh, that is thematic, a little bit musical in a certain way. So you could explore all sorts of things. Another fun thing to do with that pattern is you can explore it by adding little ghost notes. So as a drummer, sometimes they will play on their snare drum, like here's the hi-hat drum that they play the cymbals with, and then there's the drum right here that's in their lap, that's called the snare drum. Sometimes this snare drum hand will play a strong beat, but then between the strong beats, they play very, very light notes just to kind of give it some little essence between the strong beats. So you can kind of do the same thing with the Austin Funk. So you can see here I'm just doing 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you wanted to add some ghost notes there, you could kind of mess around with it a little bit. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can see I was throwing in like a little bit of a different rhythm in there, but the basic rhythm stays the same. You could really make it fascinating by. So you can see right there, I'm doing all sorts of like little things with my hands on the right hand and left hand. They kind of break up the rhythm a little bit. And it's just really fun. You'll see some handpan players out there doing all sorts of fun ghost note ideas. And it's just very subtle stuff that kind of fills in the gaps beneath the main pattern. So you can add ghost notes. You can explore different harmonies with the same pattern and same rhythm that you're playing. There are lots of kind of endless things you can do with simple ideas. So feel free to take your simple ideas and expand on them. Even like a scale. Starting with your right hand, instead of starting on the A, you could start on the D. I know I'm going fast. My battery's about to die. I'm trying to getting everything at the end. So let me just explain this one. Here's another simple idea. Just trying to get you guys motivated to, if I'm not teaching you exact parts, I'm trying to give you the broad paintbrush of like how you can move ahead with different ideas. So here's the simple scale: right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. I'm starting on the A, C, D, E, F, E, D, C, A. I'm not even touching the ding right now, but let's just take that scale. Sound just by itself. But if you want to break it up a little bit, just take the very first note you played and play a different note. So now I'm playing the ding. Ding. Now I'm going to go back to the A where I started. Back down to the D. Back to the A. Now, instead of the ding, maybe I could play something else. I'm going to play to my bottom G. I'm going to go back to the A. I'm going to go to the G on the bottom. So remember, all I'm changing is the very first note of this little pattern. Back to the A. So I'm playing 4 repetitions each time right now. But you don't have to do 4. You can do just 2. 1. Sorry. 2. Back to the A. 1. 2. Go to the G. 1. 2. Back to the A. 1. 2. If you want to get even more fancy with it, you just, every pattern you change the first note on every single cycle. So let's start on the A. We'll go to the D, go back to the A, go to the G. Back to the A, back to the G. Back to A. D. Back to the A. To the G. Right? So you can explore different patterns. And that one was subtly complex because I was playing multiple notes. But let's just break it down to 2 notes. Let's play the C and the F. So I'm going to stay on the C with my left hand and go back and forth between C and F. Uh-oh, 10% battery. Gotta wrap this up quick. All right, so let's say you've got the C and the F, and going back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave your left hand on the C and move your right hand to another note. Back to the F. Back to the E. So you'll see my left hand is continuing to do the exact same thing over and over again. And you can move your right hand to any note that you want to. Right? So my left hand stayed the same, my right hand moved around. So if you speed that up, if you get better. So all of a sudden you're making those little musical patterns out of a very simple beginning point where you're just playing the 2 notes back and forth, and then you move one hand around and the other one stays the same. You can make some interesting music out of it. All right, are there any final questions? This was a very fascinating class today. I did a lot of new material that I haven't reviewed today, especially stuff with the bottom notes on the handpans that we're offering. So I don't know, Daniel, any other final questions?
There was just a comment, Dave. Victoria from Cleveland. Where's that? I'm looking for the Victoria from Cleveland, Royal Oak. It's in Michigan. Okay. She says, thank you so much for sharing the knowledge of this wonderful instrument with us. She looks forward to seeing us, I guess, in 2 weeks. So I guess she's coming down in 2 weeks.
Cool. Very nice.
Other than that,
thanks,
there are
Victoria.
no questions. Actually, I just break it out to everybody. Anybody have any questions? Dun, dun. Well, if not, let's just thank everybody for being on. And Dave, if you like to leave them, as always, with a great tune to leave them with a great tune for their day, because I believe right now,
Sure.
especially in these crazy times, we need some good frequencies in the air. Don't you agree?
Oh, tap, absolutely.
All right, cool. All right,
Yep.
I'll mute out and.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. See you later, everybody.